Great to be with you here today. So as you just heard, I'm a researcher from the amazing Health and Medical Research Institute that's just down the road, SAMRI. And today I'm going to talk to you about eating yourself. I'll explain. But first, some history. The 20th century has been an amazing time for human health. We've seen increases in average lifespan by well over 30 years. And like with many trends, people thought that this would just keep going up and up and up. However, over the past 3 decades, we've seen a distinct flattening of the curve. Now, this could be because we've already tackled a lot of the low-hanging fruit. But while we've been very good at increasing human lifespan, we haven't been as good at decreasing the lifespan, health span gap. On average, the last 10 years of your life aren't much fun. Not many of us are lucky enough to die in our sleep fighting fit at a ripe old age. So to address this, we're tackling a major risk factor that's common to the biggest killers of Australians: age. Aging has its downsides, and not that many of us here would know much about that, but aging means wrinkling skin, greying hair, deteriorating eyesight, but it also means disease. Glad you picked up on that one. Diseases like dementia, which is already the #1 killer of Australian women and is on track to becoming the biggest killer of Australians overall in the not too distant future. Here are the pathways to dementia. Amyloid plaques grow around neurons. These are sticky, toxic amyloid plaques. Tangles of molecules grow inside of neurons. Inflammation occurs throughout the brain. And of course, neurons themselves eventually die as well. To date, our attempts to fight dementia have focused on a single pathway to disease. For example, the drug aducanumab, which is quite a mouthful, can remove amyloid plaques from the brain, which I myself find absolutely amazing that doctors can remove amyloid plaques from a living person's brain. However, that only slows cognitive decline. Now, is that really good enough? Are you happy to die more slowly? Or can we be more ambitious? What if I told you that instead of targeting a single pathway to disease, we could target aging itself? What if we could slow or stop a whole raft of age-related diseases? Well, first, I have to ask a simple question: what is aging? Put simply, aging is the deterioration of fundamental body processes over time. We know what these are, and we know that one of them interacts with all the rest. And this is called autophagy. Now, I want you to remember this term because you're going to be hearing it a lot more over the next few years as scientists turn their attention to the fight against aging. Autophagy. It's ancient Greek, and it literally means to eat yourself. Now, that sounds kind of macabre, but trust me, it's not. It's actually quite beautiful because we're all eating ourselves right now. Autophagy is the recycling system that's clearing all the waste material out of the cells of your body. Autophagy is sweeping up the collateral damage from the drinks that we enjoyed in the Botanic Gardens last night. It's taking the damaged parts of cells and breaking them down into molecules that can be reused. Imagine if there was a garbage strike in your neighborhood or at your place of work. Apart from being pretty disgusting, pretty soon all manner of junk and garbage would accumulate everywhere. Well, that's what's happening in the cells of your body as the autophagy declines with age. Now, I've seen this myself in experiments at SAMRI. We grew healthy human neurons from stem cells, which is a whole other cool story that I don't have time to get into today. But these neurons contain, can you see yellow and green specks? Now, they're tangles. That's one of the pathways to Alzheimer's that we talked about before. They're present, but they're under control. Next, we inhibited autophagy, and you can see how these tangles have grown and spread through the neurons. Now, that tells me that autophagy is working hard all the time to suppress this pathway to dementia in your neurons right now. And it's not just true for tangles, it's also true for the other pathways to dementia. So we know that autophagy slows biological aging. And we also know that autophagy can be increased using drugs and simple lifestyle interventions. And we know all of this from animal research. But what we don't know is whether or not this is true in humans, because we haven't been able to measure autophagy in people. Until now. My lab has patented a blood test that puts a value on your autophagy. For the first time, we've been able to see what autophagy looks like in living people. Now, the test is similar to the neuron example that I just described earlier. We take some of your blood and we split that into two. One half we leave as it is, the other half we inhibit autophagy. And the rate of accumulation of waste material, and the difference between the two samples, is your autophagy. I can remember when we saw this for the very first time in the lab. We've been studying this process in cells and in animals for years, and we were so excited to finally see this in a living person. There was a real buzz around the lab when we went to the pub to celebrate, but that excitement soon gave way to a realization that the box that we just opened wasn't full of answers. In fact, it was full of a string of daunting new questions. Now, to put that into a tech context, at the smartwatches where we want to get to, we just realized that we could tell the time using the sun. But this is really exciting. My colleagues at SAMRI and around the world are really energized by the possibilities. This test is not yet clinically approved. However, we are using it in clinical trials to understand what autophagy looks like in people. So have any of you heard of intermittent fasting? Any hands up at all? There's a couple over here. Lots of people. Fantastic. I thought of a few, but yeah. Not only is it a great way to lose weight, we've now got data from SAMRI showing that it could also increase your autophagy. Not only this, but we're lucky to have access to cutting-edge technology that we're using to find biomarkers, simple indicators in your blood that can tell us whether or not your autophagy is healthy or in decline. We're also devising ways to image autophagy in the organs of your body, because it's my vision that in the coming years you can visit your GP and get a quick and easy test for autophagy, alongside tests for other things like blood pressure. And with that, we'll have a whole raft of interventions ready to end the garbage strike in your cells and maintain your autophagy at the rate of a healthy you. Because what we want is for you not just to get to your 130th birthday and celebrate that with your great-great-grandchildren, we also want you to have the vitality to blow out all the candles on your cake as well. The 20th century saw huge gains in human lifespan, but by studying the fundamental drivers of human aging, the 21st century will see similar huge gains made for human health span. Thanks, everyone.